Welcome to Fridays with Frazier. This is our first week's edition. Hopefully it's been a great week. This is our first full week in school. Again, I realize it's not exactly what we were expecting in relation to the pandemic, but please understand that we are monitoring the information and monitoring our data very closely in regards to the effects of the virus that we are seeing in each one of our sites and in our entire district. We are working closely with the Oklahoma State Department of Education, the Oklahoma State Department of Health, and also the state epidemiologist. This week we were on a Zoom call with all three of those agencies and organizations, once again confirming that quarantines were one of those mitigating strategies that were recommended and expected from the school systems. Of the 5 different recommendations from the Oklahoma State Department of Health, one of those is wearing a mask, number 1. We know that that is impossible to do currently because of the state law. The second recommendation is social distancing, because schools, quite frankly, were not designed in order to socially distance. That is very, very difficult, but we are attempting to do that to the best of our abilities. Number 3 is hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette. And so we will continue to supply hand sanitizer. We will continue to emphasize the importance of washing your hands frequently. And when you cough, please cover up your mouths. So that was number 3. Number 4 on the recommended guidance is cleaning of the buildings. We have invested heavily in a commitment to clean our buildings, sanitize our buildings, and we will continue to do that. And they are as clean as they've ever been. So we will continue to do that, monitor that, and those expectations are still in each one of our buildings. The last recommendation is that of contact tracing. And I think it's very important because there's been a lot of conflicts in relation to should we, shouldn't we, is this appropriate, is it not appropriate? So I want to be really, really clear. In the Zoom meeting, they made it perfectly clear that contact tracing, isolations, and quarantines were absolutely not optional, that it was exactly the same procedure and protocols that we had in place last year, and it was expected. In fact, because the inability to be able to do masking and the inability possibly to be able to do social distancing, numbers 3, 4, and 5 become even more important. I think it's important that we start and say that we all want the same thing. We want our students to be healthy, we want them to be safe, and we want them to be face-to-face in school. And you can help. With just these simple procedures, it can make a big difference in the quarantines and possibly even mitigating the virus spread. Number 1, if your student has any Class A symptoms, which include fever, sore throat, cough, difficulty breathing, diarrhea, vomiting, or loss of taste or smell, please keep your child at home and consider testing for COVID. We have tests available at all of our sites through appointments with our nurses, and we can also find many locations in the city of Claremore for testing. Our sick policy is still in effect. Students and children that are ill should be kept at home and should not be at school, especially now. Number 2, if you or a family member has been exposed to COVID, please keep your child at home and consider testing. The virus has an incubation period of approximately 5 days. What that means is you can have the virus, even be symptomatic or asymptomatic, symptom-free, and still have the ability to be able to spread the virus. So after day 5, consider testing. Stay quarantined, don't come to school until you have a negative test result. Number 3, if you have tested your child, please keep your child at home until you have received the test results and they are negative. Number 4, and this is an important one. If you are quarantined from school, that does not mean that you can attend other outside activities. It is not limited to just Claremore Public Schools. So that means if you're quarantined, you need to stay away from family gatherings. Don't go to college sporting events, youth sporting events, and yes, even church. Again, this is not limited to just Claremore Public Schools. The quarantine is the guidance that is recommended from the Oklahoma State Department of Health. Number 5, we strongly encourage the use of masks, especially indoors. Whether you are vaccinated or not, we recommend masks inside. Vaccinations is a very emotional and a personal decision. So we're not going to take a side of whether you should or you shouldn't. I just want to be clear, and our purpose and our goal is to make sure that our students and our families and our staff are safe. To do that, we're going to trust the individuals that are entrusted with the health of every resident in the state of Oklahoma, and that's the Oklahoma State Department of Health. And we're going to try to follow those guidelines to the best of our abilities. We will get through this difficult time, but only if we partner together, work hand in hand, and not against one another. We realize the inconvenience that isolations and quarantines are causing on our students. We are very concerned about the social, emotional, and physical toll that the pandemic has taken on our students. So again, I say, let us band together, trust one another, work collaboratively together, and we will get through this time. Always remembering, we want the same things. We want our students safe, we want them healthy, and we want them face-to-face in our schools in front of our teachers and staff. Thank you. Have a great day.